Hey, everybody, really excited for this chat today as we talk about how AI is shaking up the world of SaaS, especially for companies under $100 million revenue, and a company that is helping SaaS teams scale and build smarter and faster at Launchpad. Jason, how are you?
I'm excellent. Great. Good to meet you, Evan, and glad to have some time here with you.
Yeah, thanks for joining. Really intrigued by what you guys are up to. First, tell us about Launchpad.io. What's the
Sure.
big idea? What is it? And who is it built for?
Yeah, absolutely. So, Launchpad.io, we announced it 2 years ago. It's a product spun out of Pegasystems. So, Pega's been around for 40 years. We're a $1.5 billion company focused on large scale enterprise. And we took our proven capability for kind of the largest, most influential companies globally. And we're really built a platform specifically for software companies to make it easy to build agentic and AI enabled solutions that they can take to market very fast.
Sounds amazing. Can't wait to dive in. Before that, I mean, how did you get into SaaS? How has the landscape evolved, particularly the last few years since you've been in this space?
Sure. I've been in SaaS before it was called SaaS. So I started a company in 2000 when I saw the opportunity to start working with Salesforce.com, and there were a couple other competing companies at the time, like Upshot in the CRM space, really disrupting things. And so I started a consulting company implementing Salesforce.com. Built that company up, had Salesforce Ventures and a VC invest in my company and merge us with a competitor. So we became about a 500-person global consulting company. So over that time, we implemented about 1,000 implementations of SaaS solutions and projects. And then after that, went on to start a couple of app exchange companies, was involved in kind of leading sales and marketing for another one. And so, yeah, I've been kind of on both sides of it, running services, doing product companies. And then when I joined Pega in 2017, they had me come here to basically start our corporate venture program. So I run that and often advise entrepreneurs building companies focused on both services and product within SaaS. And then 2 years ago, moved into this role to run go-to-market for Launchpad.
Brilliant. So you've seen firsthand the many waves of tech, the OG internet, of course, but then, cloud and mobile, the, big RPA automation wave. What makes this current wave so powerful, so different, especially for SaaS companies?
Well, I think all of these waves, there's always that fear, uncertainty, and doubt that an entrepreneur has, but there's also that excitement because you've got these breakaway unicorns that happen within every one of these trends and waves. But I think as you sit there as a small to mid-size entrepreneur, you're like, okay, how do I take advantage of this? But also, am I being outpaced, and how am I falling behind? And so I think that that's one of the big challenges today is that with AI, it's moving much faster than any of these waves that we've seen in the past. And yet, I think a lot of us, like yourself, probably who've seen this movie before, we know that it's not magic and that it's not going to all of a sudden happen overnight, because especially in the B2B world, companies take time to change, right? And so there's an opportunity, but it's going to close quickly for these companies that are under $100 million software companies to really pivot and figure out how they become more AI native to really compete and maybe even unlock growth that they never thought possible.
Oh, such a great point. And tell us more about the site and the mission at launchpad.io. Great name, by the way. But who's it built for exactly, and how does it make
Yeah,
your tech more accessible to that audience?
sure, absolutely. So as I mentioned earlier, we've been really strong. Pega has been strong in workflow orchestration and really heavy in the enterprise space. And so we had lots of interest from the market of organizations that want to take our technology and go build products and take them to market. But our platform in Pega wasn't architected for it. So about 4 or 5 years ago, we started a new project, which was basically to build Launchpad as a ground up architecture, which is, web first, fully, kind of SaaS native, partnering with AWS. And so we really created a, kind of out of the box SaaS platform that's multi-tenant, does subscriber management. It's a low code development. really built, for us, for software entrepreneurs and builders that want to get to market fast without, the complexities of code and stitching together 10 or 20 different services. And then we handle all the cloud ops and scaling automatically.
Wow, that's really interesting. So founders, the software entrepreneurs you speak of, are under serious pressure. They have an amazing opportunity with all the tools out there, but lots of roadblocks, lots of challenges. I've talked with hundreds of founders personally here on the show. But what's your point of view from the biggest challenges, roadblocks, hurdles they need to overcome, and bringing AI really to market in their products?
Yeah, absolutely. So you asked, who's it for? So I'd say the biggest impact that we've seen is with startups that build from scratch on Launchpad. And then the other big group that we're helping are companies, as we said, kind of 1 million to 100 million, where they don't really have enough R&D budget and resource to really invest in what it takes to go transform their business, right? So they've got existing client relationships, they've got an existing product, they've got some tech debt. They're probably having trouble keeping up with just the requirements to satisfy their existing backlog of features and capabilities for their existing customers. And now all of a sudden, the AI wave hits them, right? And so I think a lot of those companies are either stunned or trying to figure it out. And it's very hard to take your, kind of legacy tech and then transform and become more of an AI first company. And so where we're finding Launchpad helps is those organizations can either use us to quickly build agentic AI solutions from scratch that complement an existing product, or they could embed AI powered workflows into an existing product to move their product from just tracking information and reporting on it, like a lot of B2B SaaS applications were doing 5-10 years ago, to really actually getting the work done and executing that work and putting them on a path to help their clients adopt some of the new AI and agentic capabilities.
Yeah, that's incredible. So the classic question of make versus buy, build versus buy, has been with us for decades. It's never been easier to build. I mean, my last programming language was Fortran and Pascal, and yet I'm able to tinker and do some fun stuff with code generation these days. So why not just build in-house? What's your sort of value proposition?
Yeah, no, good question. So I think the shift that's happening is that, in the old days, early 2000s and .com, you'd build everything yourself. You'd build your payment gateway, messaging services, and everything. Today, you wouldn't think to build a payment gateway. You'd probably just use, Stripe or Shopify. You're not going to build an SMS gateway. You're going to use Twilio. You're going to use an ecosystem of technologies, right? Because at the end of the day, it's about, in B2B SaaS, how do you deliver the fastest value and the most impactful value to your clients? And if you're caught up in managing code and different technologies, you're just not going to get there fast enough. So today, you're leveraging LLMs, the latest models, you're leveraging some of these other tools that are out there. And Launchpad is just another one of those as a tool in the bag to get you there faster. Because really, we're giving you a lot of capability out of the box that you shouldn't have to go spend your hard-earned money or VC money on building out workflow capabilities that you could just get and then really focus on your IP and your go-to-market strategy.
Oh, really compelling. So
yeah.
The other thing that's changed a lot over the years is customer behavior, buying behavior. The mythical customer journey has changed dramatically. We all do our own research and our expectations have changed. But what do you see from your partners and customers around buyer expectations for SaaS products? They can be pretty finicky these days.
Yeah, totally. So I think, in the B2B space, businesses are looking for, solutions that are actually going to deliver outcomes. They're not looking to just track information. So when I was implementing Salesforce, they were excited that we could track leads and we could report on opportunities. And that was a great thing because we could do it well. That's not acceptable anymore, right? Now you actually want the system to actually go book meetings and nurture them and automatically take them through a process. Or, if you're doing a lending process, is orchestrate all the different systems and connect them and move the customer through the journey, but with a human in the loop and in a compliant way, right? And so that's where things are going, and that's where customers are starting to expect. So we're finding that businesses are pumping the brakes on buying new point solutions they're doing experimentation on AI themselves, and they're wondering if their current, B2B SaaS vendors are really going to evolve to address the oncoming needs that they're going to have and expectations. So these software companies over 100 million, they really need to pivot quickly and really shift from that mindset of just tracking and automating to actually starting to orchestrate and deliver more value and impact for the businesses. So I can just tell a quick story if you don't mind.
Please.
So recently we had one of our companies that we invested in a few years ago. They were a single digit, $1 million company doing services. They transformed themselves into a SaaS company, built 100% on Pega, scaled up their business. They've now gotten on a track where they're exceeding 50 million in ARR. And they didn't do that through custom code. They leveraged our low-code platform, our workflow orchestration. They built a fintech solution that they're now the leaders in their space. The company's called Quavo. And they just got a $300 million financing from Spectrum Equity. And so it's an excellent kind of proof point of, how they really went and said, look, we're not going to go waste our time on custom code and doing full stack engineering. We're going to take a platform that's excellent and proven for workflow orchestration and getting this done, and then really put our unique value on top of that and really just focus on delivering outcomes for our clients. And now they've incorporated AI in the last couple of years to a point where, banks that they sell into can now process disputes and resolve them with a fraction of the number of people that they could have in the past, leveraging kind of that workflow orchestration plus AI, and it's really becoming more of an agentic solution.
It sounds amazing. Are there certain industries or verticals, you mentioned financial services and banking, that you're getting a particular traction in? There's needs vary from healthcare to manufacturing and on and on.
Yeah, I mean, in the segment we're serving, where there's, in any business you have workflow, right? So in verticals, I would say that you hit it on the head, which is healthcare, financial services, insurance, real estate. Those verticals are very strong for us, but then we're also seeing horizontal solutions being built, within HR around recruiting, leveraging AI for, bringing in resumes, interpreting those resumes and moving them through a process and booking meetings with, hiring managers to interview those scored resumes. So a wide diversity of things, but really I'd say where it's an intensive workflow process, there's complexity, there's lots of integrations, there's a potential to leverage AI and potentially, drive some automation. Those are situations where it's great to, kind of leverage Launchpad to get there faster. So as I talk to entrepreneurs and kind of CEOs and CTOs of kind of mid-sized SaaS companies, it's really about, hey, you've worked hard to earn those customer relationships, to win those organizations as clients. Now is the time to really look at, knowing their problems. How can you solve the current problem, but also look at additional areas where you can expand into? Because companies don't want to buy a whole bunch of point solutions today. They want to work with a trusted vendor. And so if you can deliver value quick, leveraging a platform, that's a great way to do it.
Sounds amazing. And, how does a new partner, customer, SaaS company on board with Launchpad.io? What's the process look like in the time frame? And is it, a clean sheet of paper, or are you typically moving over lots of code or data or other applications?
Yeah, no, great question. So, generally there's kind of three examples I talked about. So, either somebody's looking to build a new application or rebuild one or add features to an existing application. So just go to launchpad.io, sign up for free. You can use our Gen AI blueprint tool, which effectively, you just register, go in, describe in plain English what you want to build. You can fine tune the text, step through it. It's going to go build out the workflows based on our 40 years of experience in B2B workflow management. It's going to look at our industry knowledge. It's going to look at content on the internet, and basically it's going to draft up your data model, your processes. It's going to identify personas, and then give you a really easy kind of drag and drop interface to basically fine tune that. And then what you get to within minutes is basically a working prototype that you can look at. What's the desktop application going to look like? What's the mobile application look like? what's a conversational UI experience. You can actually chat with your workflow. So if it was a banking onboarding application that you just built in a few minutes, you could say, I want to open a new account, and it's going to converse with you and ask you questions related to that process and take you through that journey automatically. So once you're ready to take that to market, you sign up for a subscription. Our subscriptions on Launchpad are under $1,000 a month or less for startups. And basically that includes capacity and premium developer support to help you finish off your app and then take it to market. And no minimums per customer, no minimum cost per user. It's really just a consumption basis model.
Fantastic approach, really intriguing.
Trying to keep it easy.
Easy button. That's what we all need. When I look in the SaaS marketplace, there's a really crowded environment. There's lots of lookalike products. My little small business, I have a dozen SaaS tools for content creation and video and editing and all kinds of nifty Gen AI use cases. Do you think there's a kind of future of too many lookalike SaaS products, and there needs to be some real focus on differentiation and marketing and sales and go-to-market, and maybe less on the technology, which has been a great leveler in many ways?
100%. I think that, years ago, people would think of their SaaS company's value a lot of times as the code, but it's not the code. It's, as you said, it's the customer relationships, it's your revenue, it's the value you provide to your clients, it's the relationships, it's your knowledge of their problems and how to solve them. And it really doesn't matter how you do it, as long as you're delivering a great outcome for the client and helping them hit their goals, right? But I agree. I think that there's so much, long tail apps that are out there. But I think there's also a place for niche solutions, especially within the B2B space. And that's what we're seeing, especially with AI, is I think there's a lot of generalist AI tools there, but the key thing is really getting very specific. So I'm working with one entrepreneur who's building an application to really transform how dental offices operate. Oh, wow. And they want to use voice AI, while they're in with a patient, to actually talk about what they're doing with the patient, to capture some of that stuff, handle the whole client experience from their dial in to, kind of scheduling and all the way through to billing. And so really kind of transforming that experience, which are things you would expect from kind of an enterprise, but they're making it possible for a dental office, right? But they're going really deep in terms of understanding exactly what it is. The founders actually, ran a dental office herself. She is a dentist, understands that market, what they need. And so I think it's where people go deep with their expertise in their niche and then build kind of enterprise grade solutions that a small business never could afford themselves, if that makes sense.
That's a great story. Not going too deep at the dentist. I like
exactly.
No minor, but I would agree. And there's some great entrepreneurs doing amazing work. When I was talking to you yesterday in the CRM and voice calling sort of conversational AI space with pizza shops, Domino's and
sure.
Franchisees, and they're doing amazing work in bringing tech that traditionally was not in those environments. So really cool stuff. So what are you up to in the next few weeks? I guess we're heading into the busy September season soon. Where can people meet Launchpad and you and the team and see what you're up to?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm here. Reach out to me directly or my team through LinkedIn or sign up for Blueprint. We're going to be announcing a set of webinars. So we've got a joint webinar in the fall in September with AWS, talking about Agentic AI and how you add that into your products. We're going to have kind of regional events across the US, again with AWS. And then we'll be at AWS reInvent in December. We've got a session that we're running there, and we'll have a booth there as well. But ideally, we would have already helped somebody that's listened to this get an app and have revenue impact within this year. So they're talking about their success with us, maybe by reInvent.
Fantastic. Well, I'll definitely see you at reInvent, and thanks for joining and sharing the mission.
Absolutely. Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks, Evan.
Thank you. And thanks, everyone, for listening, watching, sharing, as always. And check out our new TV show, techimpact.tv, now on Bloomberg and Fox Business. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Jason.